Nicole, hello. Hope you guys can hear me because I don't have my mic. Don't know what I did with it. There's Perlman. What's going on, buddy? I need stuff set here. You guys hear me all right? I don't have my mic. Well, I do, but I don't know where the adapter is. All right, this live is pretty much for our buddy Perlman there. Let's see. So with reloading, typically what I do, your first thing is your cartridge length. I'm doing 6.5 Creedmoor. So if you look in your book, it says overall length 2.775, which is basically the factory size. Well, some factory size, because I have factory ammo right here. It's supposed to be 2.775, and it's 2.750. Like, you'll get a bunch of different sizes. So go shoot those all downrange whatever you want. Just get rid of them. But I will take an empty brass that's been full length, ran through the full length die, blow the primer out of the back of it. Then I usually get whatever bullets I'm using. These ones I'm doing 129 grain interlocks for this one, which is probably backwards on the screen. Which actually, I might do 140 grain ballistic tips. I'm not sure yet. So say we're doing 129s. I'll take one of the bullets, get a brass that I full length dyed, set that bullet in there, it'll slide in and out, and I have it way out, you can see. I take that, grab your gun that's definitely unloaded, take that, drop it in there, close your bolt, real easy. Open it back up, and with any luck, your bullet's still in the casing. Sometimes they come out, might get stuck. There's my boy Scenic. We're doing a little reload in Scenic, trying to help out our buddy Perlman there. So now I had that in the gun, fully chambered, pulled it back out, which means the end of this bullet is touching the lands or the riflings inside that chamber, which you obviously don't want, but that's going to put you extremely close to the riflings, and it'll give you accuracy like no other. But what I'm going to do is, now that I got that length, you hit it with your micrometer without pushing the bullet down into the casing. Now I'm at 2.780, and we were supposed to be 2.775. So that gun is actually extremely close to a factory length. But after you have that length of 2.780, another thing you want to check, lock this down, get your clip, because if you put this on here and your micrometer is out past the end of your clip, your bullets are not going to fit in it and they're useless. I've done it. That's how I know. So now that you have a size, the next thing I'll do is turn this. Obviously you can adjust the top, you already know this, you can adjust the top of your die up and down. Always run it way out, a ways, that way that it's just touching the top of my bullet. This is out at max for the gun, so then I'll turn this down just a little bit, and that'll push it down in a little more. I'm not going to sit here and adjust the entire die all these times. So right there, just barely touched it. So now I have 100%, well, not 100, I would be lying. You have this one, Scenic, this is a 6.5 Creedmoor. I have 308 dies here to do a 308. Wait, I got just the ammo that Scenic needs for the big pit bull. That's a Scenic shell. We'll take him deer hunting with that. So anyhow, now that you have that length that you or extremely close to your riflings, it's going to be a lot more accurate. And the neighborhood skunk just come by. So that's going to improve your accuracy. And then what you want to do is, let me see if I can do this on green screen. How do we do this? Green screen. Oh, look at that. I feel like a college professor. So if you're looking, I don't know if I can point and make this thing work. So that's the reload data for a 6.5 Creedmoor, 129/130 grain, because 1 grain's not a whole lot when it comes to a high-powered rifle. You're gonna have all your reloading data. What I do is go with, can I point at this? Yeah, like the Varget right here. It's doing all kinds of weird stuff, but the Varget 36.5 has the star beside it. That was the most accurate load tested by the factory. So if that's their most accurate load at 36.5, which I have Varget 36.5 is what they're calling for, use that as your baseline. Go up a half a grain, make some 37s, make some 36.5s, and then drop one. Go to 35.5 and in that vicinity. That's what you want to start your loads with. Go out, shoot them, see how they work. Or if you have, I don't know, I have way too much powder here, but like I have H4350, which is right here. So the H4350, they're doing, I don't know if I can see it down there. Yeah, the 4350, they're calling for 41 grains. Do a couple of those. Same thing, go with 41, couple 41.5, couple at 40, give or take, because the factory doesn't really try to lie to you with the little star beside it. They're most accurate shots. So stick with those. Move up a half a grain, right on the grain, half a grain lower. Try those. See how they work. Some guns, they actually want the lower grain charge. So 39s on that might be the best. Me, I don't like to go, like start pushing that 43 grain, which is, you're starting to get towards max. Because if you look up at the top, get my, where it says 47.1 grains, it says water. 47.1 grains is the max that cartridge will hold. You don't want to push that because you'll get you're going to get the overpressure signs, which is what you got when you shot at the range. That overpressure is blowing out. It's pushing your casing out against the inside of your chamber. And then when you try to extract it, it don't want to come out. Let me get rid of this thing. There we go. So if it's getting stuck in the gun, you're overpressuring. You backed yours down a whole grain, which is great. So you can play in that range. And trying to think, another thing you could do is outside of the getting closer to your riflings, I mean, the gun's shooting good. From the video I watched with, you're shooting at 100, 200, 300, and you're staying, like that string you had across, obviously you know what you shot, but you had the string across low at 300. That's great. There was a lot of wind, so that could have did all kinds of stuff at 300 yards. And then this is obviously calling for Federal 210 primers, which are large primers. I use the match grade. I mean, you don't have to have match grade. If there's some in here. Couple. Seating your primers, not a whole lot. Mine's a press. If you can see it down here. I saw you had the squeeze gun, which there's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure they're flush with the back of the shell. Obviously, when you shoot, make sure you don't have the primers pushing out, because then you're over pressured. But that's pretty much it. As far as the reloading that you were doing, that was fine. Measuring out your powder. I have a roller pad for my cases. I just throw them on there, roll them through, because it has REM oil in it. Everybody knows what REM oil is. Some of us drink it to survive. Pad, roll, makes the casing slide in and out of your dies easier. Other thing I would recommend, which would be great, is once you go and shoot your shells, they are actually fire formed to the chamber of your gun. So they probably aren't going to go into another gun. They may, but they're yours. You're reloading them. Shoot them, they fire for them. Then just go get you a neck die. It's just a neck sizer, and all it does is resizes the end of it down to your 6.5, and it touches the shoulder at the top. So it sets the shoulder and the top, and that's it. Then those cases are fire formed to your gun. Your gun may or may not like it any better. It may not improve accuracy, but case life, it's gonna give your cases a lot longer life, because it's not expanding this, blowing this copper out all over the place and back. Well, brass, not copper. Obviously, you got all these goodies, the shells, or the shells, scale. You guys probably can't see that thing. You got your scale. Throw on whatever you're using to dump your powder. Obviously, you want to zero it. Some people, like myself, these bullets are supposed to be 129 grain. I drop one in there, 129.0, right on the dot. For some reason, you'll get some that aren't. And I saw you were weighing some of your bullets. That was 129.1. Then you know your scale's zeroed for people that don't have the actual weights to drop them in there. What else you got? So that's your load data. That's getting your bullet length to your closest you can to your riflings. That improves the accuracy. You got your charge, your load. What else? That's pretty much it. Get yourself a, well, you already have a cleaner. Have to lean it down more. I got one of these. Cleans off the edge, clean off the inside. Primer pocket. And I always run the brush through them so you don't get any junk. Up inside. Done. Or the handhelds work. Handheld for inside and outside. I think this is the one you, I think this is the one you got. They work great too. And that's about it. Obviously, make a couple. Make sure you check them repeatedly with a mic so they're all staying the same. You don't have to check every one of them, but always check the first couple. Make a couple more, then check some just in case, because you don't want, in case your die moves or something. Typically they don't, but it can happen. I think that's it. No, I really don't. I mean, I have one. You really got to get a bunch of shots. Like let me see if I can find some here. Like this is my bigger gun. That's the 7mm STW. And I've used these probably, say, at least 4 or 5 times, and I'm still not out of tolerance like that to where it would actually bother me. So I don't mess with them. Another thing I do, I don't know if you have one, but I have a tumbler. I'll come down one day and I'll just blow all the primers out of these, throw them in the tumbler, wait till we're going to work so we don't get annoyed all day by it, but I'll throw them in the tumbler, crushed walnut seed in it, turn it on, let it run the entire day. While we're at work, you come back and your brass looks like brand new. Obviously, you want to make sure they're good and cleaned out. Air compressor. If you don't have an air compressor, use a real light, I don't know, maybe a can spray air, blow it in the primer pocket, make sure everything's blown out of it. I mean, a piece of walnut shell in there is not gonna change the world or hurt you. Write down your load data, obviously. I got a book full. Whenever you find what works for your gun, write it down, hide it in a safe. I have a whole list of 6.5, PRC, 6.5 Creedmoors, the 243s, all the guns that we use I have wrote down, even a couple for buddies that I reload for. Everybody says they don't reload for people, but I do for friends of mine. But I'll put them into factory spec. I won't make them hot or anything. Some guys say, how do you get factory spec? Well, if you take one of these factory bullets, stick it in here, lock down this bullet puller, rip that bullet out of the end. If you weigh that bullet, if you weigh the powder, then you go to your reloading data, and whatever powder is at the exact same powder, you're very close to a factory load. So don't let people tell you you can't do a factory load. They're full of it. Trying to think what else. Should be about it. Hopefully that answered some of your questions or helped you along. It's hard to do all that over messages. And the other thing I heard you saying about on your one video was double charging rifle. It's very hard. I mean, if you double charge a rifle load, it's typically going to run out of the end of it. But if you're doing these guys here, 38 special, very easy to double load, or double charge, if you want to call it. So if you get into doing pistols, 38 special, what else we got here? 45 long Colts, all that stuff is extremely easy to double up the powder in it, and you're gonna have a mess. So this tough bag of brass doesn't have a goodie in it. Put your brass in Ziploc bags. Save your little silica packs from stuff you get. Throw one in there. Bullet replacement. I haven't done that. Yeah, it's a good thing to do. A lot of people skip that. They don't think about it, but I am by far not a pro shooter. I can shoot. I'm not a pro. But if you look at these guys that are shooting long range, and 500 yards isn't long range, 1,000 yards plus with these, super expensive guns, blah, blah, blah. When they're doing their reloading, if you watch, that's what they do. Some of them even have their bullet touching the rifling, which to me, I don't like that idea. I, for some reason, always think in the back of my head, catastrophic failure. So I like to have at least a little space between the riflings and the bullet before it actually leaves the gun. And they do it, but again, they're running a couple $1,000 guns that are built to take millions of rounds, and yeah, that's the last thing you want to do is have yourself one of these fancy little savages that aren't top of the line by any means, but they shoot good, they perform, but they're not built to a couple $1,000 spec to where you put the bullet up against a rifle and pull the trigger and you got a handful of metal or a face full of lead. You don't want that. Let's look to see if it's... They don't put any 6.5 stuff on the actual jugs of powder. I didn't realize I had these 140 grain ballistic tips. We gotta load those up for the kids this year. And I think that's about it. So yeah, any other questions, just shoot me a message on one of my videos. I'll go live again and definitely show you and help you out. I don't mind helping people at all. I love reloading. It's fun. Sit down here and make all kinds of ammo, see what it does, what it doesn't do, what it likes. And if you want to have real fun, I can't explain that all to you on here, but if you want to have fun, look up subsonic loads for your gun. There's like a formula, like if it's 40 or say 57 grains, I think you were at, but there's like a formula where you divide that in half and do something else, and it makes subsonic loads, which are kind of fun to play with. I've made them. It doesn't hurt anything. It's just no big boom. Now that you're reloading, you can do whatever you want. All right, y'all. Well, there's that. Any other questions? Just, I don't know. When this live reposts, it takes it a while when they repost. If you have any questions or anything, just put a comment and I'll either reply to it or we'll do another video, go live again. But I'll catch y'all later.